Dear, welcome to Linda's Weekly Guided Insights, a weekly gift of guidance from my spirit guides on navigating you through the uncertain world that you are now living in. Published every Tuesday since 2014. In this episode, the guides will be talking about the spirituality of critical thinking. And like always, Ray, what question do you have for me?
Well, I saw the title to this week's insight, The Spirituality of Critical Thinking, and I thought, how is critical thinking spiritual?
It's not. Okay? And I'm going to explain how this works. Critical thinking is something you would do in this world. The world, the 3D world, the material world, the world you find yourself in at this particular time, this world. Critical thinking, the spirituality of critical thinking comes from this world. It comes from looking deeper into any decision you're about to make or any situation that you find yourself in. That's when the spirituality comes in to your critical thinking. Critical thinking is critical. You're not just thinking about it, just lightheartedly, just thinking about it a little bit, but you are really thinking about what you're about to make a decision about, what you're about to think through, that you really need to spend some time on. Do you really want to go to college, to that university? Do you really want to take that job? How do you think it through? Do you think it through from this world, just from this aspect, from the material world, the 3D world? Do you think it through just from that aspect? Let's hope you don't do that. Although this is important, this is one world that you live in while you're here on the planet, but you're also living in the world that you came from before you got here. And that's the spirituality part. That if you are well balanced, if you know how to center yourself and be in the present moment, when you're looking for answers that are critical to your life moving forward, that's where the critical part comes in. Not just, what do you want for dinner tonight? That's not critical thinking. That doesn't require any critical thinking. But some things are very important. And they set you on a path in your life that will last a lifetime. That's critical. Or last the lifetime of your children or somebody else that you're having to look out for. That's critical. And let's hope you're not just thinking about it in this world. Because if you are, you have limited yourself radically. You need to open yourself up so you can see the whole picture. You can see the pros and the cons. You can bring these together and analyze them, not just from this world perspective. If you're just coming from this world, your thinking is going to be skewed regarding your fears, your biases, all the things that have made you into the person you are up to this point. You're going to be making it from that point of view. And I got to tell you, if you haven't been connected to the world you came from, to the spiritual side of you when making decisions, when moving through this life, okay? If you're not accustomed to doing that, then you're just going to make decisions from this point of view. It's going to have all kinds of flaws in it. You don't want to do that. So how do you do it from both perspectives? How do you do it and bring both worlds, the world you came from, where you spend most of your time, by the way, and the world you go back to when you're released from this world, bring that in, looking under the hood, looking at what you would normally miss and never consider, in conjunction with the world that you're living in. That's the spiritual hybrid. of the spirituality of critical thinking. That's a hybrid over just being in this world and making decisions just from this world's perspective. Now I'm going to share with you how this works. I learned to do this starting when I was 7 years old, when I started journaling. My book, Guided, My True Story, talks about how I found myself in a situation where I really needed to get it right. I was in a big mess with my childhood family, and I really needed to figure things out, or I was doomed in this world, and I knew it. In fact, I was warned by my guides when I first came here. The first memory I remember them telling me telepathically is, your life, it will get better as you get older if you can make it through childhood. My life will get better as I get older if I can make it through childhood. That's an ultimatum right there. It was a warning. It was prophetic. It turned out to be true. So they were trying to get me to wake up in this world, wake up, bring this back, remember and incorporate this into my life so I could see things from both perspectives, from this world and the world that I came from. That's when, at 7 years old, I started journal writing. It saved my life. It also made my life. I didn't realize how important it would be in my higher learning stage that I went through with them, my guides, my spirit guides, these light beings. I had no idea how important it would turn out to be throughout the rest of my life if I could make it through childhood. Okay. So that's what this is about. This is when you need to make some critical decisions. When something is coming up where it's on you to figure it out. You've been there before. You know how that feels. How does it feel? Does it feel like you're all alone? And oh my God, the burden's too great. This responsibility is too great. I just know I'm going to flub up here. I know I am. And you're right. You will. If you're just coming from one world perspective, you will probably not make the best decision you could make. As a matter of fact, it'll be a long shot from the best decision you can make, because this wants everything. On the other hand, the spiritual side of you, it doesn't want anything. It needs to know. It needs to look deeper. It needs to figure things out. It takes more time. It introspects. It considers everything. And hopefully, these two things are going to work with you in unison in both worlds, not just this one. This is shallow. This will give you a shallow shot at getting it right. But when you have this on your side, now you've got it. Now you've got it. That's the key. And here's how you do it. You get these journals. Get my book first. You need to read or listen to my book to see how I did it. Okay? I was a kid and I figured it out. I better had figured it out, or I wouldn't be talking to you right now. That's how hostile my childhood was. My life was on the line. I started this journal writing. This is why I wrote these journals. These are the companion journals to Guided. This is how I did it. This is how you do it. I teach this, okay? I know this works. I help hundreds of people learn how to do this and stay with this and see results. In fact, on this insight, the spirituality of critical thinking, on this insight, you're going to see a comment left on this insight by Viola. And I answered Viola. And Viola's going through something right now that's very critical to her life. And you'll see the interaction we've got going there at the bottom of this insight. And Viola is up against something that's haunted her for 10 years. And she's just about ready to make a breakthrough. You want to know why? Viola learned to tell herself the truth. That's a hard thing to do when all you've lived in is this world. where you're programmed to kid yourself. You're programmed not to look, not to really take any of that seriously and really look inside yourself. Oh no, that, you're not supposed to do that. You're just supposed to do what you're told in this world, not what you know is true within you. Okay. That's the spirituality of critical thinking. That's when you're true to yourself. That's when you can tell yourself the truth. You must tell yourself the truth. It happens by using these journals. These journals pull this out of you. So you quit hiding. You've been hiding. You've just been in this world. Oh, this is way too sensitive, way too tender to let this come into this world. Okay, you got to get this back in balance, you guys, so you can be present. You can be working in both worlds. You can calm down. You can tell yourself the truth on the pages. It's for no one's eyes but your own. Do not ever share what you write in your journal with anybody, because as soon as you do that, you're going to water down what you write, because you're going to be writing it for the person who happens to bump into it. Don't do that. You need to tell yourself the truth, especially now. So get my book first. Find out how I did it. You guys, time is short. It's really short. You've got to get your critical thinking, your spirituality of critical thinking in order, so you are not going into panic mode as we move forward in this world of chaos and more chaos and more chaos. You don't need to be a reactionary person. You need to be a person who can accept what is, write it down, study it, ask yourself how it made you feel. It goes deep. How it really made you feel. Then if you did that, if you wrote it down and then you asked yourself, you inquired within yourself about how it feels, and you really got deep. You went into the spirituality of the critical thinking, not just writing it down, okay, but the spirituality of what you wrote down. And you really dive into how it felt. You will the automatic response is to have a realization. You can't miss it. It happens all by itself. It's a gift you get for sitting down and writing it down and flushing out how it feels, how it really feels in your guts, how it feels. Okay? Get real with it. No one's going to see it. Tell yourself the truth. That's how you're going to find it. That's the spirituality of critical thinking. That's what it's like. It's something alive inside you. It's not just in this world. It's both worlds brought together. Now you've got something that you can depend on that's going to deliver the truth to you every single time. That's what the spirituality of critical thinking delivers. The truth. Here it is, the truth. It's dead on. It's true north. You can't miss. Will you always like the truth? No. Okay, so what? Okay, write it in your journal. Just keep it going, and you're going to be on your path. You're not going to suffer and struggle and be a laggard, okay, because you're just in this world. You don't seem to get it. You can't move fast enough. You don't make enough money. You suffer all the time. You worry all the time. No. The spirituality of critical thinking is not any of that. That's just being in this world. Now you're bringing your worlds together. And this part of you can now trust you in this world to come back in and become one with you. That's what you've been missing. That's all you've been missing. But you've got to start writing down what's going on in your day-to-day life, 15 minutes a day, to perfect this. You guys are going to be bad mamma jammas. You're going to get this. All right? Okay. So if my work has changed your life for the better in any way, tell your like-minded friends about what I do. And my spirit guides and I love your comments. Thank you, Viola. And just keep them coming, because I answer all of you. Okay. And the guides are going to close, my spirit guides. These light beings are now going to close this session about the spirituality of critical thinking. And here they go.
There are decisions that you've made many times before. These types of decisions do not require critical thinking. It's like making a decision about what type of sandwich do I want for lunch. You've made this decision thousands of times. You don't really put too much thought into it. It's more like a response of, what do I feel like today? But what about the new decisions that you make? Decisions you've never before been forced to make. These are usually life-changing decisions. What type of education should I get? What type of career path should I follow? Should I get married? Should I get divorced? These are decisions that require critical thinking. You see, the difference is that decisions that require critical thinking have residual consequences. And that is the spiritual component.
Okay, consequences are going to happen. I want to get this clear. They happen either way. They happen whether you're going into the spirituality of critical thinking, you apply that to your decision making or not. There's still going to be consequences. The difference is your consciousness. When you operate from the spirituality of critical thinking, you are conscious. When you just do thinking, or, like the sandwich, you don't have to be very conscious to decide what sandwich you want today when the guides came through and said, you've done that 1,000 times. It doesn't take much consciousness to do that. You just have to have blood pumping through your veins. That's about all, okay? But when you have to make a critical decision, like should I get married, or should I get divorced, or should I should I buy that house? You need to think it through. It's not just about making money, okay? There's a lot more when you buy a house that goes along with the consequences of buying that house, okay? So everything is on you now. Fix the roof, the plumbing, the wiring, the landscaping, the everything, okay, everything. It needs to be painted. The HOA wants you to do this and that. I spent 40 years in real estate, so I can only relate to it, in every aspect. So critical thinking, it might look shiny and pretty on the outside. It might feel good right now, but you need to go to work on what's going on as you move through the process of making that final decision that will have consequences either way. They just do. That you live in this world. This is a world of duality and a world of lessons and experiences. Okay. So we hope they have more experiences than lessons.
Yeah.
We hope to. So you have help. You are never alone. And always being guided